today, what I wanted to cover was a few topics around how we as investment bankers are looking at the plant-based and alternative proteins industry. So what I had in mind was to cover a few points. One is there's been a lot of conversation around sales growth and whether we have hit peak alternatives in terms of the future growth of those businesses. Two, there's also been a lot of debate around valuations, and people have asked questions around the ease of raising capital in today's market. Thirdly, I also wanted to briefly talk about potential consolidation across the industry. And then lastly, the long-term prospects in the space. But maybe before I jump into the different topics I wanted to cover, I'll quickly introduce myself. And as I said, I run UBS's effort in food tech, agri-tech, and climate tech. And I started covering the space back in 2015 when we did a small capital raise for Impossible Foods. And what's interesting about this time, this was a point in time when it was difficult to convince both our internal community and investors that we as consumers would be eating plant-based meat. Now, it was a crazy idea to think that we as consumers would be eating a burger made out of plants, but that bled like beef, cooked like beef, tasted like beef. And we fast forward 7 years, and it's no longer a question. We all accept plant-based meat products as the norm. And within this time frame, back in 2019, we also had the IPO of Beyond Meat, who became the referential point for a lot of investors. And it really, I see that as the way in that investors started to become familiar with food tech, and people started exploring food tech, not just plant-based meat, but the entire space, the entire value chain, from how we grow the food, the vertical farms, all the way to the food delivery and everything in between. But coming back to the topic for today around plant-based meat, and specifically around sales growth.